We had him, Lonzo. We had him. We had him! Wanted that win.
You look good on TV, by the way.
Did I pop up? I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, you did it multiple times.
Love it.
Not that I watched or anything.
No, of course not. We had him. Had him!
If the Triumph would have showed the aggression that they did in those last couple minutes, like the entire extra period, maybe. Not that I watched or anything, but
no, of course not.
But maybe could have got it in there.
Hell of an effort. Hell of an effort from the Greenville Triumph last night. Hell of an effort. How did it look? Because I got to tell you, inside the stadium, it was buzzing.
All right, I'm going to do that thing. Do you want me to be completely honest?
Yeah.
All right, so I started watching it. My wife is like, "Is this a high school game?" And here's what it is. It's camera angles. It looked like they had one fixed camera. That's like on the I don't know, somewhere in the stands, and you could tell. So from that, I think what makes something look so grand is multiple camera angles and things like that makes something look bigger than it did. The crowd looked amazing, but because of the camera angle, it made it look high school.
It is effective. It is a high school stadium.
Right.
So there's not much you can do about that. Still hoping we figure out a way to get the Triumph Stadium. But I got to tell you,
they didn't miss anything as far as the camera. I mean, it got all the action and everything. So you got to see what you needed to see. But I think from production value, it makes it look lesser than because of the camera.
Yeah, if you put a camera down on the field that shoots up into the stands and is closer to where the fans are, I will tell you last night, 110 was off the chain. 110 was loud. And by the way, the Charlotte FC folks showed up and showed out too.
Yeah, you could hear both fan bases over the announcer some. So, I mean, as far as the audio was good.
Sure. Greenville Triumph fall 2-1 in the third round of the U.S. Open Cup. A 1-1 deadlock late into an extra time period yesterday evening. Well over 4,000 in the building last night. There was the expectation. I got asked right before the match started. One of the photographers, a friend of mine, Brittany, she came up to me at the tailgate and she said, "Hey, sports dude, give me an optimistic projection for tonight, a realistic projection for tonight. Give me one of both." I said, realistic projection, 3-4-0, right? Realistic is this is an MLS team, and they didn't play the same starting 11 that they would have played if we were an MLS team, right? They didn't play their same starting 11 you're going to see coming up this Saturday when they take on Colorado. You know what they did have to do in extra time? They had to use all of their subs to bring on their best players because we pushed the hell out of them.
Which was, I'm guessing what happens if they lost another guy, they just play with less players. Is that how that works? Or are you allowed to bring another guy back in?
You have a maximum number of subs, and once you exhaust those subs, you are done. If somebody falls out, if somebody gets hurt, whatever the case might be, you cannot replace them. So that kind of it brings some strategy into the game, right? Because on one hand, you want as many fresh legs out there as you can, especially when you go to an extra time game and you're getting pushed like both teams were last night. So most managers they'll try to save a sub, right? You want to save a sub until late in the match in case somebody does get banged up or pull a hammy or something to make sure that you've got a guy you can send out there so you can play with a starting 11. Charlotte FC realized late into that second extra time period that they were in a bit of trouble, and they had to use their subs to bring out their best players. They knew they were getting pushed. And so I told Brittany before the game, I said, "Look, here's the deal. Realistically, 3-0, 4-0 loss. This is an MLS team. We're not. It is what it is. We had John Harkes on the show last week. Harksey said on the show, let's not kid ourselves. Let's not pretend we're anything other than a big underdog in this. And they played like it. I mean, they came out gunning. I told her, optimistic projection, we're tied after extra time and maybe we can win it on PKs, right? Optimistic projection is we take them to a full tie through the 2 extra time periods. We go to PKs and we win on PKs, which would have been fine. We almost had that.
Yeah, I was rooting for that because I thought that would have been an amazing way to finish it.
Yep. The Triumph were, I think both teams were thoroughly exhausted by the end of it. Conceded a goal in the 105th minute, just before the break between the 2 extra time periods. Greenville brought a lot of pressure in that second overtime period. There were a couple of opportunities for the Triumph in that second extra time period. You get that many shots on goal, the hope is the law of averages comes into play and one of them trickles in. That's really all it came down to. They were exhausted. There were some injuries throughout the game that thinned out the Triumph a little bit, which was a problem. But there was a ton of good things out of what we saw out of the Triumph last night. And again, if you missed out on that event, man, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you. It was it was loud. It was energetic. The tailgate was popping. The match itself was incredible. Like, it was fantastic. Every bit of it was good. So well done to the Triumph. Well done to Coach Harkes. Well done to the boys. To Joe and Doug and Chris and all the guys and gals in the front office. Hell of a show last night. As far as that goes, with the limited technical and production capabilities that were there to put us on TV, I thought what was on TV came across really well. There were a couple of dudes walking around with, camcorders and whatnot, taking some footage of the tailgate and the game itself. I'll be interested to see when those videos start popping up on YouTube, what it looks like from a more man on the street perspective. But as sporting event goes, and I'm not saying this to blow smoke. I'm not saying this because I'm a fan. I'm saying this because I was there. That was the most electric sporting event I have been to since I moved here, with the only exception, Lonzo, being last year's Clemson v. South Carolina football game.
So it was really cool. They were the announcers were talking about how loud everything was, and they zoomed in to your section, and there you were. And I started to pause it and take a picture and send it to you, but you don't look at text, so I knew it was a waste of time. But still, there you were, right there.
Love it.
I was like, I know that guy.
First off, I do look at texts. I just don't always respond to them. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the replay of the game.
Say you can go back and look at the replay and find yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it. Not to find myself. I'm gonna watch it because it was a fantastic soccer match.
There's nothing wrong with saying you want to see yourself. I mean, because it's cool. It really is cool.
It is cool.
It does not get old ever. If people who say it gets old, they're lying.
It was a good time. I thought it was. I thought it was fantastic. I thought that the Triumph played their asses off and took a team that they weren't supposed to have. I mean, this was not supposed to happen. It was not supposed to be that little old GVL with that one single star above their crest was going to be able to compete there. And not only did they, but they competed well. They competed really well. Good on the Triumph. Well done to the front office staff. Well done to John Harkes. Well done to the boys. 110 was loud. It was popping. Well done to the Charlotte FC fans that came down. I talked to a few. Was kind of making my rounds, welcoming people to the upstate. Super nice. Super nice. Really enjoyed it. And here's how I know that we can, should be, are very impressed with what Greenville did last night. Very impressed, Lonzo, in that when the match was over, Charlotte FC celebrated that win like they had just brought home a supporter shield. Charlotte FC celebrated that win like they had just won the MLS. They were all over in the corner. They kept popping smoke, kept beating the drums, kept blowing the horns. They treated that match like it was the biggest win of their season. They knew the fight that they were in. And again, they did it against little old Greenville. Loved it. Loved it. Well done to Greenville for showing up and showing out. Entire stadium was packed. I saw our buddy Chris Lewis, president, who joined us on the show yesterday. Thanks again to him and Doug for doing it. Saw both of them before the game. I was talking to Chris right before we got started, and he said, you know, we had it filled out, we had it filled up, and then we decided let's do some standing room only tickets. Let's do SRO. And they opened up the far section across from the supporter section on the other side of the field. They open up underneath the scoreboard as SRO. And ordinarily, they don't do that because ordinarily they're not going to pack 4K in there. Although I'm sure that's going to become more routine as time goes on if they keep having success like they have the last 3 seasons and did last night. He said we went SRO, we put them up online, they sold out in like 30 minutes. 4,065 was the ticketed capacity last night at Legacy Early. So good on the boys. Good on the boys. We got a lot more we're going to talk about coming up on the show today. And I hope that you will hang out with us, have a good time. Phone line's open, 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FAN-PHONE. Text line, Preferred Home Services text line is there for you as well at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Start your text with FAN. We'll read them on the air. NBA. Playoffs. Rolling. Good stuff coming out. Joel Embiid. Trust the process, my dudes. 76ers knock off the Raptors 104-101. Have you seen the shot from Joel Embiid? The shot from Joel Embiid was unbelievable. Overtime, a second and some change on the clock. Joel freaking Embiid takes the inbound, spins around, hits a fall-away three-pointer. How? Because that's freaking Joel Embiid. And, you know what? I was going to mention Jay Wright on the show, but now that I see who's next up on the phone lines, I can't do it. To save that for later, Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Chris, I don't know about you, pal. I'm tired, guy.
I feel you, my man. I feel you. Hey, I don't mean to disrupt the flow of this award-winning show because you guys clearly know what you're doing. But I was listening as I'm heading back into Triumph Central, and you know me, I don't ever do this and just call in. But I just wanted to call in while you had the attention of your audience and just thank the Upstate, thank the Riot and La Familia and our fans. And quite honestly, like you mentioned, thank the folks from Charlotte who came down because they contributed an enormous amount to the atmosphere that was there. That was one of the coolest experiences I've had in a 25-year-plus sports career. And it was made possible, obviously by the Irwins but by the community. And I just wanted to give my front office staff a public pat on the back, John and his staff, and of course our players, who I am super, super proud of for the effort that they put forth. And thanks to you and the station and Lonzo for helping to promote it and drive us over the finish line with that crowd last night.
Man.
Truly, truly appreciate it. You're the best, my man.
Absolute pleasure, buddy. Absolute pleasure. And you guys, like I said, I thought that And I agree. I don't know if you heard me. I said that was, without question, the coolest sporting event that I have been to in the upstate. The only sporting event I have been to that was more electric was last year's Clemson-South Carolina game, for obvious reasons, with South Carolina fans feeling themselves a little bit going into that. But as far as a unique atmosphere, I think what was great about that is I didn't feel, Chris, like there were any wine and cheese fans in attendance, right? Like, I didn't feel like there were any fans there that were there to see and be seen. I didn't feel like there were fans there because it was going to be a fun social outing. It felt to me like every person in that stadium, whether they were wearing green or whether they were wearing black and blue, was there because they wanted to be a part of it. And to be a part of such a unique experience, and you guys pulled it off. So well done to you guys. Well done to John Harkson, the boys. That was a hell of a fight that they put up. Honestly, we got into the second period of extra time, and Andrew and I are standing there going, there's one more coming. There's one more coming, because the boys exhausted, did not stop fighting until the final whistle came. And I think that speaks a lot to the team and the organization you guys have put together from top to bottom. So well done on a hell of a show last night, Chris Lewis.
Thank you, sir. Like I said, there's a ton of people that made that happen that are far beyond me. I just kind of go where I'm pointed. But I would agree with you with regard to your comment about the fans that were there. There were certainly the hardcore that were there to see this as a soccer match and analyze it and assess it. There were others that are just, they bleed green and blue, and they, you would need the world to be on fire for them not to be there. And then there were some folks that I think came to just check it out, but they were quickly consumed by the atmosphere, and I think became, a part of what you said, a part of the whole experience, and being there because they felt like they wanted to be there and they wanted to be part of it. So again, I want to say thank you to the upstate. You guys showed what Greenville is as a sports town, and you absolutely showed what Greenville is as a soccer community. So thanks to everybody, and again, thanks to you guys. And if you want me to hang on, I'm happy to talk about Jay Wright, my man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And my question to local Villanova expert Chris Lewis is going to be, what? Like what? I'm sitting in the stands last night as we get close to the end of the second extra time period, and I look down at my phone, and anybody who knows me knows I don't go more than 6 or 7 minutes tops without checking my phone, because breaking news happens and I need to make sure I've got it out on Twitter or whatever when it happens. I pick up the phone, which I have not checked in the better part of an hour during the back half of that match, and I look at it, and I looked over. I looked over at Joe Bright, who was 2 people over from me, and I went, "Oh, Chris's night just got exponentially worse."
Well, I was right there with you, because you've seen me in game mode and things, and every now and then there's a game face on, and I had to keep checking my phone because we communicate a lot internally via text. So if there's something I need to give attention to, a lot of times Trey or Megan or whomever, Doug, is texting me saying, "Hey, where are you?" I looked at my phone and I had an alert from the 4-letter network, and I out loud, I went, this can't be real. And Marcus looked at me, he was standing next to me, and he's like, "What?" I said, "Nothing." And I went into it, and I texted the story to my wife, who was sitting across the pitch from me, who went to Villanova as well. And I texted it with a bunch of the poop pile emojis and a lot of exclamation points. And she wrote back the same thing. She said, "Is this fake?" And as you can imagine, then my Villanova text string started blowing up, which I had to try and ignore during the course of the match. But yeah, that's a shot. And Kyle Neptune he grew up under Jay, but I don't know that anybody can replicate what Jay Wright was to that program.
No doubt. No doubt. Chris, my man, phenomenal job last night. I appreciate you calling in to talk about it. And let's go kick Tormenta's ass on Saturday. What do you say, pal?
I hear you. We need you out there upstate. So if you had fun last night, come and have some fun again against our frenemies from down in South Georgia.
There you go.
Thanks again to you guys, Rob. You guys are the best.
Always, buddy. Always happy to help. That is Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph. That was, by the way, thanks to him calling in. I did not ask him to do that. I was going to give those boys the day off. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, let's take a look at some NBA playoffs. We'll get to that. ESPN has put out their win-loss projection for South Carolina. What is it, how they arrive, and do you agree with it? We'll break down what ESPN says will be the final record of the Gamecocks later on in the show. We'll do the same with the Clemson Tigers as well. Gonna be a busy day here on the show. Shasta writes in, says, Rob, what an amazing night. That blank was rowdy, son. I think I slept inside a beer can. So proud of the boys. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Shasta. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Let's see.
With special guests. Tickets are on sale now.
Hey,
at
Skrilla, nice job last night, buddy. Well done.
Zach Brown Band,
I was
presented
not
by
standing
Live
next
Nation.
to the drum guy, Trey. I was the drum guy.
Warmer weather.
I don't know if it's going to pick it up, but
year you need to be enjoying life without joint
there's
pain.
your
It's Rob
war
Brown.
wound right
Time
there.
to call
Yeah,
for
you
the
can't
call
you
back.
can't really see it on the
Genetics help.
camera.
Yeah.
It just looks
Here
like
and
a
all over
normal thumb
America,
crease.
get real
It's a-
lasting pain
it's a-
relief.
it's a
They use
sick-
highly
I was
concentrated,
hitting the drum
cutting-edge natural
hard
biologic treatments
last
that
night.
can restore
Yeah.
and repair damage.
Keegan, it's barely, pal. There will not be much yelling today, my man. Not be much yelling today, I promise.
It's a very low key day for Rob. I might win an argument today.
Steven said, I saw Mark on ESPN Plus in the 81st minute, and Keegan said, was he in an ivory
I didn't know if
tower?
you'd read that or not. I think ivory towers are a state of mind sometimes, so, you know.
Great night and game. Everybody brought. They absolutely did. Absolutely did. Steven says, the only question I have for Rob is, with the early shift today, how many monsters will/has been consumed? One, but it's the barrel-sized. It's the big boy.
You know, I read that and I just didn't understand it till now. So it's like,
It's the big
when
boy.
I saw shift, I was thinking baseball.
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
Said technically next to the big drum. All right, fine. I was next to the big drum, but I was still playing a drum, Keegan. You were literally right in front of me. Literally right in front of me. Keegan got on the mega horn last night, leading some chants, leading some yells. Loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, don't read that last one. Well, you can read it, but just don't. All right, there's a war brewing in the studio. I had to come in and move the sign. Now, I don't know if someone else moved the banner down. If they did, this is going to be a daily thing of me having to move the banner back up. So if that other show is on stream today and you see someone physically moving the banner down,
Let us know.
Bombard the text line and the Facebook page and tell them to leave it alone. I'm old. I shouldn't have to stretch like that daily.
Texter said Triumph need a new stadium bad. Hope last night helped. Yeah, me too. Me too. They could have, get a new stadium, put another 3,000 in there. But I thought overall, it was a hell of a night. Hell of a night. Keegan said, I'm surprised you have a voice today. Oh, you have noticed, Lonzo, there has been very little yelling on the show so far.
Yeah, I am surprised that you have as much voice as you do, but we're only in hour one.
I am projecting, my friend. Projecting.
It's what we expect from
'Cause
an
I am-
award-winning professional broadcaster.
Oh, would you look? Would you look who? I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but watch the crowd shot here in just a second, Lonzo. Watch the crowd shot. Look who made TV. Our own Mark Ryan, front and center. Love to see it. Love to see it. Right there on screen, 82nd minute.
Wait. There's a lot of guys who look like that. Are you sure that's Mark Ryan?
That's 100% him.
You're positive?
I mean, he's undeniable.
I don't see any plexiglass. But
He's a living legend, man. Of course it's him. Right there. Right there on the sideline. Love to see it. Well done, Marky Mark.
If he knew the camera was on him, would he have turned and,
He does
geeked
what I
out?
do. He does what I do. We find the camera, so the camera finds us, but then the key is to act as if you don't know you're on camera. That's the key. Our job is to get attention. We go find it, but then once you have it, you're very nonchalant about it.
So,
Me?
so-
I'm on TV?
So don't do what Tony Schiavone says people do now and know they're on camera and overreact.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Don't try to get yourself over. Don't try to get yourself over. Don't work that way. All right. Joel Embiid knocks down an absolute banger of a three-pointer in OT to down the Raptors, who are now 0-3 in the hole against Philly, so that one's over. By the way, James Harden James Harden takes every foul call against him like it is a personal slight against his puppy and mother at the same time.
Maybe he really feels that way, though.
He might.
Probably does.
You're only calling that because I'm James Harden. No, dude. You fouled that guy. Harden fouled out late in the game, and he was not happy about it. Like, dude, you clearly did that thing that they're saying you did. Like, it was very obvious. Joel Embiid is the MVP this year, right? Like, there are other guys that are going to be in the mix for it. Obviously, Giannis will be in the mix. Devin Booker will be in the mix, which we're going to talk about him just in a minute, because all of a sudden, the 1 seed Phoenix Suns might be in a little bit of trouble. D-Book's got a hammy. He is out likely for games 3 and 4 in their series against New Orleans, and games 3 and 4 are both in the Crescent City. That's not ideal after the Pelicans came back and beat the Suns in game 2. That's a 1-1 series. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But Joel Embiid is just that good, man. Not only can Guy own the paint, not only can Guy D it up inside the circle, but now you're telling me Joel has got ice water in the veins. Drilling a turnaround contested overtime three-pointer with 0.7 ticks on the clock. Joel Embiid is the best player in the league this season. It's not even I'm not even asking you that as a question. I'm telling you that as a statement. It's a fact. Who was it? Katie? I think even Kevin Durant, who, by the way, famously does not play for Philadelphia. KD said, paraphrasing, if they don't give it to Joel Embiid, we really gotta sit down and talk about what the MVP award is about. I heard somebody on radio yesterday afternoon saying MVP is not a big man award and it should not go to a big man. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Joel Embiid averaged 30 a game, dude. If KD averaged 30 a game consistently, we'd all go, that's unbelievable. What a season. If Kyrie had 30 a game, we'd all go, that's unbelievable. What a run. Joel, as a big man, dude. As a big man. Philly's not Philly without Joel Embiid. And the fact last night that Joel Embiid's gigantic behind was the one that got the ball coming off a screen in OT, inside, 2 seconds left to play, and they trusted Joel with that ball. I mean, I know, if James Harden's out there, they're probably getting the ball to the bearded one. But Joel taking that thing showed us that Philly knows what I already know, which is that dude's the best dude on the basketball floor. Phenomenal player. Phenomenal player. So the Raptors are down 0-3 now, and Nick Nurse got told by Joel Embiid, stop complaining about foul calls. Because in game 2, Joel Embiid got fouled going up at the rack. Nick Nurse was super not thrilled about it, and Joel was like, dude, maybe if you spent more time coaching and less time complaining about foul calls, your team would be up.
Speaking of that, how many guys would be down on defense in time? How many guys would be open for shots? How many guys would be able to do a whole lot more on the court if they stopped whining and complaining every time there's a foul? And usually the biggest whiners and criers are the ones who really did it, and it's obvious.
Here's my favorite part about it. This has been my whole thing with like baseball managers, right? I think managers arguing with umpires is the dumbest thing that's ever happened. It's just stop. You know what I've never heard happen? The initial call was a contact foul against Brooklyn at number 22, but after a really good argument from the player, we have decided to overturn the foul. That would have been a shooting foul at the line, shooting 2, but he was really unhappy about the call, so we're going to go ahead and wipe that one. It'll be inbound white ball. Never happened, guys.
Yeah, I don't think it ever will either, but still they'll keep complaining. And I mean, when does this start? Does this start as a kid, or do you start by seeing, hey, you know, that NBA player did that, so I should do that too? I mean, I don't understand. Maybe they think to influence calls later on in the game. I mean, I guess that's a possibility.
I think it's, again, there is some tactical strategy to it in that you're trying to point out when something's wrong. So if it was a genuine mistake, they don't blow the same whistle later on in the game. I get it.
I would like to hear what some of those referees say, because they have expressions on their face like, come on, man.
Oh, you can go to, if you go on YouTube, there are videos of floor mics, and you can hear them talking sometimes. Like, they've caught interactions, and more often than not, the ref will explain the call. Like, hey, man, you got him on the wrist. It is what it is. Settle down, James. He went up hard. You got him on the wrist. I don't know what you want me to tell you. But I don't even really have a huge problem with them arguing for calls. But what I do have a problem with, Alonzo, is what you just talked about. I have a problem when the team's on transition on a fast break the other way, and you're face-to-face with the ref asking why you didn't get a call. And it's like, I don't know if you know this, dude, but they got the ball down there where their goal is. You might want to head that way, partner. Tayshawn on the stream chat said, Joel Embiid is the GOAT, best big man I've seen. I don't have a problem with that. And what's great about Joel's game is, when we talk big men, we don't compare Joel Embiid to Shaq. We don't compare him to the big man whose game is muscle it to the rack and go up, which he can do. But Joel has got handles under the rim too, right? He can hit a fadeaway. He can hit a hook. He can hit a drop shot. He can put the ball on the floor and get around you, spin around you, go up and through you. Joel's what would happen if you stuck the handles of a shooting guard into a big man's body. Love it. Guy is the MVP. It's not a discussion to me. It's a statement. Let's take a break. We come back. Got 2 other games that went down last night as well. Nets and Celtics. Boston leads that series 2-0. And all of a sudden, this Bucks-Bulls series is really interesting as well, as Chris Middleton banged up last night. So now the Bucks have effectively one scoring threat. It's Giannis. And now he's got to take on the Bulls by himself. All that more coming up on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Lester says, Jokic is the MVP. It's not the best player, but he's definitely most valuable player. I don't man, listen, I'm here to hear the argument. And I like Nikola Jokic for a lot of the same reasons with Joel. And on top of that, a defensive machine. I got no problem if you think Jokic is the dude. And the Nuggets aren't the Nuggets without him, but I don't think the 76ers are the 76ers without Joel either, right?
Throwing a bottle now. I might miss. Don't jump. I did miss. exactly how I plan on playing cornhole tomorrow. Like that.
There it is.
So does anybody have any cornhole tips so I look like an ace my first time playing? I'm just curious. Something that can help me out. Is there a way to spin the bag? I mean, is there a better method to doing it? And is it okay to heckle when someone else is throwing? Just curious. I don't know how high the ceilings are, Keegan, so how high are we talking about? You say go high. I'm guessing it's inside. Is it inside?
The bar?
No. No, the cornhole thing.
You can play it inside or outside, but I believe their cornhole boards are outside.
Oh, so that's what I was asking, if it was
Yeah.
outside. Okay, so I can aim for the sky.
Well, the more arc you put,
I know that's what
tougher
Keegan
it
is
to
saying.
find the board, right?
I
So
don't-
you gotta. It's more of an up and diagonal.
So when you're saying that, Tayshaun, do you mean the angle of the board? So the actual board can be at different angles. It's not standard. I'm just asking. I don't know.
No, they're standard. There's like a official cornhole board. However, like people will like I've got at the house. I've got a mini cornhole set. The board's only about that big, and the bean bags are like they fit in your palm. That's more for if you're lazy and don't want to drag a bunch of stuff around.
Would they fit in Kenny Pickett's palm?
Somebody's fantasy football name is going to be Kenny Pickett's Tiny Hands.
Oh, it's probably already out there for sure. Ooh, according to TMZ, Mike Tyson seemed to lose his cool on a plane on Wednesday night, repeatedly punching a man in the face after the guy had apparently annoyed him. Is there video? I shouldn't want there to be video, but I think there might be video. There is video. Oh my gosh. I don't know. He's being restrained. I don't know if he actually puts serious. Well, no. That left is coming down pretty hard. He's missing with the right, I think. You can't see the guy's.
Guy who rolls up to Tyson's crew in a bar with a gun. Tyson sits down and gives him a hug. Guy who slightly inconveniences Mike Tyson on an airplane gets his face punched in.
I like the story. Tyson seemed to lose control. Loses cool. He looks pretty.
Dude, he is.
Pretty focused, but I can't tell if he's landing or not because you can't see I don't know.
Those first few rights are stiff, but I don't know if he's making much contact.
I don't know. One of those rights. Yeah, I see it made contact for sure because you could see it kind of go back in his
So, guy who rolls up on Mike Tyson in a comedy club with a gun. Mike sits down, talks him back to reality, and gives him a hug. Guy who slightly aggravates Mike Tyson on an airplane eats about 6 stiff right hands from Mike. Just when Mike had pulled the ultimate image rehab a few weeks back, somebody slightly inconvenienced Mike Tyson on an airplane. And Mike Tyson's response was about 6 consecutive stiff right hands to the body.
There was an old Jim Croce song that said you don't tug on Superman's cape.
You don't spit into the wind.
You don't mess with Mike Tyson on a plane.
You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger.
Look at you.
And you don't mess around with Mike Tyson.
Yes.
And I gotta tell you, I've Lonzo, you're not a flyer. I've been flying for years. People on airplanes are terrible. I don't know what it is about getting inside of a rocketing metal tube in the sky that turns people into complete and total weirdos, but it does. I sat on an airplane. When did we fly last? Oh, when we went up to Boston and New York last year, was on an airplane. And there was a guy behind me. I can't understand how this world works. Guy behind me takes off his shoes on the airplane. Shoes and socks, goes barefoot. First off, oh, dude.
Which smelled worse, that or certain times in the upstairs restroom here?
Yes.
Okay.
Guy takes off his shoes and socks, yeah? Takes off his shoes and socks. And about halfway through the flight, so I got a bad back. I'm an old man. I got a bad back. Those of you who watch the stream, you see me constantly stretching it out. So I got to lean forward sometimes, stretch out the back. I stretched forward at one point about halfway to Beantown and looked down, and between my legs, sticking out from under my feet, are his 2 bare feet. Just right on, not like under my seat, Lonzo, like under and past the front of my seat. His 2 feet are now stretched out between my 2 feet in front of my seat.
I just want to say, when Rob said he stretched out halfway to Beantown, he's talking about Boston. Don't get weird on the text line. Please.
Should have said that like 2 years ago when we opened the text line. Yeah, just his 2 stank-ass bare feet right there in my section, right?
So did you feel the urge to go Tyson on him?
No.
Okay.
I accidentally spilled a little bit of my Diet Coke on the floor. Oops. Sorry. My bad. I just needed to take a sip. And I don't know, man. I guess the plane shifted or something. Because just about a quick pour of Diet Coke just happened to fall off the front of my tray and onto his feet. And he pulled him back real quick. I don't know what it is. Listen, people on planes can be annoying. And sometimes you don't even think about it. Fair warning to everyone who flies the friendly skies. If Iron Mike Tyson is on your flight, and I don't care where he is. I don't care if he's the pilot, the stewardess. I don't care if he's in A1 or C4. I don't care if he's in the cargo hold. I don't care if he's flying on the wing of the airplane. If Mike is on your plane and you are in a giant metal pressurized tube rocketing at half the speed of sound through the sky, my piece of advice to you, don't annoy Mike Tyson. Just don't.
As you pointed out, I've never flown before, but I've seen planes on movies. And the planes on movies and TV, there's this thing called first class, which seems to be a little bit roomier. Mike doesn't appear to be in first class.
No, he really does. The video definitely does look like he's just kind of in a coach seat, right? Just kind of in a coach seat. TMZ is reporting that the incident went down at around 10:30 p.m. Pacific time as Tyson was slated to fly out of San Francisco International to Florida. A witness on the plane said he and his friend were boarding Tyson's flight. The boxing legend was initially cool with them and other passengers. The witness says Mike took a selfie with him and then was patient with his overly excited buddy who kept trying to talk to the 55-year-old fighter as he sat behind him. Eventually, though, Tyson had enough of the guy behind him talking in his ear and told him to chill. When that guy did not chill, witnesses say Tyson started to throw several punches at the man's face. Video shows Tyson throwing a flurry of blows at the man, which you can see bloody the passenger's forehead. The witness says Mike walked off the plane just seconds later. The man that was punched received medical attention and then went to police over the incident. We've reached to the cops for comment, but so far no word back yet, says TMZ. Listen, you get to meet an icon. It's awesome. Say hello, but do be chill, right? They're still human beings. That being said, Mike, when you sat down with a dude who pulled a gun on you and your boys at a comedy club, I think the majority of us were like, hey, maybe Mike settled down, right? Mike's just trying to live his life and sell his Evander Holyfield's ear-shaped edible CBD gummies. Let my guy live. Then Mike gets on an airplane. A dude talks to him too much, and Mike goes full iron on him. Mike, you were doing well, buddy. We were all in your corner.
Hasn't he been ingesting like frog spit or something? I can't remember. He told Joe Rogan that he was ingesting something frog-wise.
Here's the thing.
Maybe he got a bad frog.
Here's the thing about that sentence, Lonzo. That could be completely made up or entirely true, and I'd believe it either way. If you told me right now that that is a thing you just made up to be funny, that would make sense. And then if you told me that's a thing that Iron Tyson definitely said on Joe Rogan's podcast, I'd go, I also believe that too.
The room was smoky when they were talking about it. That's all I'm saying.
Shocking. Texas said, did you not hear about the guy that self-pleasured 6 times on an airplane and literally asked the woman next to him if she was okay with it? And she said she was. If that guy was on Mike Tyson's plane, he wouldn't be the only thing getting beat. Let's take a break. I'm fired. I mean Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. I regret that joke. I regret that joke.
So do I.
I regret that joke.
Maybe it's time to get the show on the road.
They're gonna text our sales rep and be like, we don't feel comfortable with him here anymore.
I think you're good. Knows that FCC is always in the chat. Well, if he doesn't come back, then yeah. We will be talking about that in Fight Club at what time is it? 11:20. So, Mike Tyson tells Joe Rogan the psychedelic toad told me to fight again. So I don't know if the psychedelic toad told him to punch this guy in the head repeatedly.
Yeah, that's not what the toad meant, Mike.
But he could have.
Did you see Seb's advice for how to win a cornhole match?
I did not.
Just intimidate your opponent via the Triple H.
Oh, yeah. Have you tried to do that before? I've never tried that.
Yeah, I can do it.
Can you? I've
Yeah.
never tried. So basically just come in and spit all over someone before you. I can't do that. I think that would be frowned upon. And I'm not quite sure I could do it.
The problem with the Triple H entrance is what goes up must come down.
Yes, it absolutely. Although last night on AEW, MJF and Sean Spears were throwing popcorn at everybody below them. Sean Spears has started doing it. He just started doing this the whole time they're doing a promo. It was hilarious. Then MJF just says something about the town. And he just dumped it all over it. If someone was looking up, one of those unpopped kernels could have taken their eye out. Prisma in the first break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on the radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Great to be with you once again. I'm Rob, the great Lonzo, seated directly across from me on the other side of the glass, both literally and metaphorically. Glad to have you all hanging out with us on a Thursday morning.
Last day in the studio this week.
It is. It is. As tomorrow, for the first time, the Rob Brown Show goes on the road. We will be broadcasting live tomorrow from Hall of Fame Sports Bar and Grill on Wade Hampton Boulevard in Greenville. Come on by. Come see us. We'd love to see you guys. Would love to see you guys. Come on out and hang out with us, man. Gonna be a good time. We will go live to 9 to noon, just like our regular show. Hall of Fame, for the record, does not technically open until 11. However, friend of the show, friend of mine, Miss Alice, the GM / big honcho over there, has let me know that she will open up the doors at 9 tomorrow just for us. Just for us. So please, come hang out. Come see us. Lonzo's going to be there in all his majestic glory.
Trying to decide, do I let the hair down? Do I put it up?
Give the people what they want, Lonzo. Give the people what they want. Lonzo's going to be there. I will be there. We'll go 9 to noon like normal. And then at noon, I'm not even going to put up the radio equipment. At noon, we walk out to the back parking lot. And Lonzo goes live playing a little cornhole for the first time in his life.
Hey, we're big time tomorrow like it should be.
Oh, yeah.
So we no setting up, no tearing down. At least at this moment, no setting up, no tearing down. Yeah, we're heading out there. It's supposed to be a beautiful day tomorrow, too.
Yeah. Yo, I've been in this business 15 years. 15 years I've been doing this. Tomorrow is the first time in my career I have been told everything will be there and set up for you. Just show up ready to do the show.
Don't jinx it, Rob Brown. Do not jinx it.
I'm going to get a text at 7 a.m. tomorrow going, hey, Rob, the techies are out. It's on you, buddy.
All right. I've had more of having to set up and tear down than I've had the other. But the other, it's glorious. It absolutely is.
Dude, we are stars. We are stars.
Well, we won a star award. If that makes you a star, then, there's that. So if you got time to watch the show and you're not at work tomorrow, or if you just want to, duck out a little bit early on a Friday, come over and hang out with us.
I mean, first off, we have already given you permission to take the day off tomorrow. It's Friday. It's NBA playoffs. NASCAR's at Talladega this weekend. MLS has a massive weekend of matches. I'm sure we can find something going on in the world of wrestling this weekend. But it's a big sports weekend. You might as well warm up for it by taking tomorrow off and coming to hang out with Zoe and I at Hall of Fame Sports Bar and Grill on Wade Hampton Boulevard in Greenville. You can come hang out with us while we do the show 9 to noon. And then at noon, play a little cornhole with us.
If you want, you could say that you're attending a self-help group.
Yeah, because we need all the help we can get.
Well, we're going to self-help you into the weekend. That's what we're going to do.
Indeed. Help us help you, people. Take the day off. Come on by. If you come between 9 and 11, they're going to have some bagels and donuts and stuff, I've been told. And then at 11, it's time for wings and brewskis. Love to see you. Love to have you come hang out with us. We appreciate those of you in advance that show up tomorrow. But I'll tell you that to your face tomorrow when you show up. Again, that's 9 to noon and then question mark into the afternoon at Hall of Fame Sports Bar and Grill on Wade Hampton Boulevard in Greenville.
Just follow the loud sound. You'll find Rob.
Yeah, I should be back. I should be back to normal tomorrow. We popped out last night. Texter says, fan just joining Rob, could you slide in the soccer final from yesterday? Sure can. 2-1 Charlotte FC takes it, but the Triumph pushed them to extra time. The Greenville Triumph took an MLS side to extra time. It was 1-1 at the end of 90. Charlotte took the advantage 2-1 late in the first extra time period. Greenville pushed a lot in the second overtime period, but just could not find the back of the net. Very, very proud of the Triumph as a team and as a franchise last night. Absolutely phenomenal show they put on. Texas says, fan, so is drinking from 9 till question mark in the afternoon discouraged? Or, listen, Lonzo and I here, we're not here to tell you how to live your life. You live your best life. I will tell you that when the clock hits noon tomorrow and we start playing cornhole, I'm done working. All right? I'm done working at that point. So there's a solid chance Rob will enjoy a frosted adult soda pop while we play a little cornhole at Hall of Fame. And at some point, there will be a plate of wings consumed. I guarantee it. Again, tomorrow, 9 to noon at Hall of Fame Sports Grill, Wayne Hampton Boulevard, downtown Greenville. Come see us. All right. ESPN has put out their win-loss projection for the Gamecocks in 2022. Their Football Power Index put out their prediction. They give South Carolina a win-loss total projection of 6. 5.9 to 6.1, roughly averaging a 6-6 season. That metric gives USC a 61.5% chance to win 6 games, a 0.6% chance to win the SEC East, and a 0.1% chance to win the SEC championship this year. The Gamecocks are ranked 45th in the country in ESPN's Football Power Index, landing at 12th in the SEC. 12th? Only Mizzou and Vandy are projected below South Carolina in the metric. The Gamecocks do have 5 opponents ranked in the FPI Top 25. Georgia, Clemson, Texas A&M, Kentucky, and Florida. Florida, by the way, explain to me how Florida's ranked 25th. Explain to me how, after what they did last year, grabbing a new coach, recruiting cycle is just chaos for them. Explain to me how Florida is the 25th best team in the country.
Proof that Mark Ryan has some influence somewhere.
It really does. I told you guys, there's a reason. There's a reason that he got his close-up, Mr. DeVille, yesterday at the Triumph game. Mark Ryan's got sway. He is somebody, a bona fide star. Anyway, 5 opponents in the FPI for South Carolina: Georgia, Clemson, Texas A&M, Kentucky, and Florida. Here's what it comes down to as far as I'm concerned. How many wins is Spencer Rattler directly responsible for? How many wins do they get because Spencer Rattler is a dude? That's the question. And the honest answer is there's no way to tell yet. Rattler looked good in the spring game. Not quite ready to say he's a Heisman Trophy threat again, as he was last year, and then fell apart. But what did I tell you guys about Spencer Rattler last week when we were talking spring game preview for the Gamecocks? I think Spencer Rattler caved into pressure at Oklahoma, right? The expectations set on him at Norman under Lincoln Riley were what? National championship and a Heisman Trophy. That was the baseline. That was the expectation. Was a national championship, at least a playoff appearance, and a Heisman Trophy. And I think Spence is a dude that caved into the pressure. I think Spencer's a dude that after his breakout season as a freshie, let those expectations, let that pressure get to him. I do not mean this as an insult, but it is a fact. Those expectations do not exist in Columbia. Is there a rational South Carolina Gamecock fan that is expecting a natty in the next 2 to 4 years? Honestly. I'll say 2, maybe 4, who knows? But is there a Gamecock fan who expects a natty in the next 2 years? No, not a rational one. Is there a rational college football fan that believes a Heisman Trophy winner is going to come off of a team that is going to be projected to be a 500 ball club and at best will be 8-4? No. The expectations on Spencer Rattler are be responsible for a win or two, directly responsible for a win or two. I think Spencer Rattler caved to pressure at Norman, where the expectations were Natties and Heismans. Those expectations do not exist at South Carolina. Therefore, there's no pressure to cave into. Because if Spencer Rattler goes 7-5 this year, Lonzo, would 7-5 be a successful year for the Gamecocks?
It's an improvement over last year, right?
I would say yes. I mean,
well,
yes, it is an improvement.
Because
I would say
of
it will be successful.
if you count in the bowl game, I think they won 7 last year. But yeah, and it also depends on who the wins are over. I think that factors in too. For them to win 7, they're going to have to beat someone that at least some people are projecting them to lose to.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, right? I agree with that entirely. It comes down to, I think it is reasonable to expect 6 wins, right? Shane, you didn't do your job if you don't get the 6 wins. Can Rattler be directly responsible for one more? And I think the answer is yes. Because again, I don't need him to be a Heisman Trophy finalist. You're not. You're not projected there. What did we say his odds were last week? Like plus 6,000 to win the Heisman? I mean, they were donkulous odds. Like 600 to 1 odds to win the Heisman. I don't need you to go out there and have a Heisman Trophy campaign. I need you to go out there and be directly responsible for a win or two. Bump us from 6 to 7. Hell, let's be optimistic. Bump us from 6 to 8. And I think it's possible. Georgia State's a win. Arkansas is a toss-up. But that's a game that Spencer Rattler could be directly responsible for winning. I think South Carolina's going to be a dog in that game at Arkansas, but it's winnable. Georgia's a loss. Charlotte's a win. South Carolina State's a win. At Kentucky, same with Arkansas. I think South Carolina's a dog to Kentucky, but that's a game that if Spencer Rattler takes over, that football team can win. Texas A&M's a loss. Mizzou is not good this year. That should be a win. Vandy's a win. At Florida. Maybe the most difficult game to project on this schedule, right? Because on one hand, as we mentioned a second ago, Florida's FPI is at 25 right now. Again, that metric's not gospel to me. I don't look at that metric and go, it is a definite way to see how this is going to play out, but numbers are numbers, stats are stats. The question for Florida is, and I have not gotten a chance to go eyes on for their spring game yet. I've got it recorded. Them in Georgia both. I don't know what the Gators are this year under first-year head coach Billy Napier. A guy who did some really good stuff in his last stop, but at an FCS school. First-year coach. Handful of guys headed out via the portal. I don't know what to expect out of Florida. Toss-up game. Back home for Tennessee. Again, another game that if Spencer Rattler's on, they can win. And then at Clemson, that's a loss. Sorry, you're not there yet. 6-6 is the baseline. 6-6 is the baseline. Can Rattler give you one more? Can Rattler give you 2 more? We know Spencer Rattler is capable of it because we've seen him do it. But then we saw the wheels come off last year. Can he put them back on? There's no pressure on Spencer Rattler. Nobody thinks you're winning a Heisman. Nobody expects you to win forget the Natty. Nobody expects you to win the division.
You know, as far as Heisman goes, the teams usually decide who they're going to push, give a Heisman push to, and they put ads out. They put a bunch of stuff out that they're pushing someone to be a Heisman. Have you heard any of that from South Carolina? I haven't. They just want him to get in there and play football. If he has a good season,
great.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're not going to push him because you're not getting a Heisman Trophy winner off of a 500 ball club. This is not happening. But
if he's Heisman worthy, there'll be more than 500.
Exactly right. Exactly right. The only pressure Spencer Rattler needs to feel is, do you want a shot at the league? If you want a shot at the league, this is prove it time. If you want a shot at the dance, you got to go out there and put yourself in the papers. If he does that, because he wants to make the league, if he does that, South Carolina can win 8 ball games. They hit 8-4 this year. We're throwing a party for them, right? Like 8 wins with that schedule would be a party. The definite wins are Georgia State, Charlotte, South Carolina State, Mizzou, Vandy. That's 5. That's 5. I need 2 more. The toss-up games are Arkansas, Kentucky, Florida. Lonzo, if you can get 2 of those 3, you're a 7-win team in the regular season. 2 of those 3. Arkansas, Kentucky, Florida. Can South Carolina win 2 of those 3?
Absolutely, they can.
They could also lose all 3. They could also win all 3. That's the fun part. And that is going to depend primarily on, can Rattler go score points in bunches? The defensive line looks better. I don't think anybody's expecting the Gamecock defense to go gangbusters on it and light the world on fire. We need Spence to put up 32 a game. I need the Gamecocks offense to average 28 or better. If they do, 7 wins, maybe 8. If they don't, 5 wins. That's the breakdown. Speaking of the break, let's take ours now, shall we? Texter says, fan, the University of Southern California is expected to go 6-6, or did you mean U of SC? Good joke. Another texter says, we just won a natty. Finish the word there? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Dawn Staley at the spring game was great, by the way. Did you see McGee interview her? She was lit. I loved it.
Disappointed that you don't have that celebrity pass catcher anymore, though. Wanted to see. I always liked that. That was always a pretty cool part of the spring game.
Let's take a break. We're back after this. Got some more NBA to get into. Some NFL news. Ben McAdoo's back in the papers. Hooray! The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate.
Prisma.
Tell you about my friends at Prisma Health, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of the Gamecocks, they are the official healthcare provider of said college football athletics department. Also, the Clemson Tigers. Same story. They both use Prisma Health as their official healthcare provider, and it makes sense why. State-of-the-art tech. You've got some medicinal need and you need a gadget or gizmo for your doctor to help you fix it. They got the best version of said gadget or gizmo. And there are thousands of healthcare professionals that run said gadgets and gizmos are the best in the business. When your boy gets banged up, and he does a lot because I'm clumsy, Prisma Health's where I go. And when I have a question about something, I go to their website, prismahealth.org, prismahealth.org. You get there, you got the My Chart, you pop it open. All your medical history, news, notes, prescriptions, diagnoses, whatever you need, it's all right there. Confidential and secure, but easily available and readily accessible for you so you can be on top of your medical decisions and keep it the priority that it is for Prisma Health. That's why the Gamecocks use Prisma Health. That's why the Tigers use Prisma Health. That's why I use Prisma Health. Go to their website, prismahealth.org, prismahealth.org. You can set appointments, find the doctor or healthcare professional that is right for you. Get all the answers to all your questions. prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the upstate.
Weather Center. Here's the upstate's most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. For today, we'll have mostly cloudy skies with high temperatures in the mid-70s. Tonight, mostly clear, 56. Lots of sunshine for Friday, up to 81, and staying dry for the weekend, low 80s Saturday and Sunday. I'm meteorologist Michael Carroll on the Fan Upstate. Right now, it's 59.
Helping you beat the book through BetQL. The NBA playoffs are when it's best against the best. While fans are clamoring for points, the reality is that teams are more likely to grind out wins. Among the five-star best bets tonight is the under 221.5 in the Suns-Pelicans game. Phoenix has gone under in 8 of its last 9 games, including 6 straight. And New Orleans has been the second best under team in the NBA all year.
So the dream was to build your very own law practice. Be your own boss, call all the shots. But have things like billing, HR, timekeeping, and all the other management stuff turned your dream into a nightmare? Take charge of your practice with Lexicon. We're the intersection of practice management software and legal support services for your firm. You'll get more billable and livable hours back. Lexicon marks the spot for all your practice management needs. Visit lexiconservices.com/intersection to get the whole story or schedule a demo.
Another prescription, another surgery, here we go again. But the joint pain is still here.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. Try something new that can lead you to a better life.
Football champion Emmitt Smith's talking about QC Kinetics, all natural, non-invasive alternatives to surgery and harmful pain medications.
I tried to avoid as many of those things as possible because I did not want to get hooked on pain meds. I didn't want those things to hamper my life.
Patients across the country are saying no to pain meds and discovering QC Kinetics all-natural, biologic, long-lasting solutions to pain relief. Regenerative treatments that help your body restore damaged tissue and get rid of the pain.
The natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
End the cycle of pain meds and avoid surgery.
Call QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper, and you can get it online?
Hey, Braden, we haven't completely adjusted to the schedule yet, so.
No, I mean, it's only been 3 weeks. Like, give me some time.
100% online process and trusted generic alternatives
I don't know. What do you think? 6 months?
at 90% off. That's right. It's the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from
Yeah, Seb, I saw the story about the, they're just calling the pay-per-view The Forbidden Door, which is great.
Hey,
That's cool, though.
yeah, but we're going to be talking about that in Fight Club.
At 11:20.
Rob acted like he didn't forget. He just had this look on his face. He just had this look on his face like, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. Rashad's going to join us tomorrow, by the way.
talks about timeshare cancellation.
If I could help everybody that has been lied to when buying a timeshare, I would. But the honest truth is I can't. And those that are telling
So I am guessing, even though we haven't discussed it, that we will not be StreamYarding tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know. We need to pursue that after the show because of Wi-Fi problems, possibilities.
That's right.
Yeah.
Limited bandwidth.
Yeah.
No, I got a second hotspot. I can bring a hotspot and just connect to StreamYard computer to it.
Okay.
Because Roy's bringing one for us to use for the Comrex, so I'll bring my hotspot. We'll run just because I've got 2 laptops now.
I'll say I can bring in a laptop.
Yeah, so I'll use my laptop to show, and then I'll bring the second laptop to run the stream off of. That should be fine.
As long as it doesn't hurt the Comrex feed.
It shouldn't. They'll be on 2 different Wi-Fis.
I would like to, if we can find him after the show, talk to Chris about it a little bit too. I mean, now we know that we're capable of doing it. It's just anyway. If it causes lag on the Comrex, then we got a problem.
Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, and YouTube. Search The Rob Brown Show, like and subscribe. You can join the stream, hang out with us during breaks. Braden just popped in, said, missed y'all's show, dudes. Finally adjusted to your new time slot, kinda. Yeah, same. I gotta tell you, I've started to get more used to it. However, your boy's kind of a night owl. And then when we have events like we did last night with the Greenville Triumph versus Charlotte FC here in the Ville, Lonzo, that 6 a.m. alarm almost got chunked out the window. I was not ready to hear it.
Yeah, I'm struggling after 10 o'clock now, but that's fine. I am getting a little bit older, but I also get up at 6 to do some cardio, and it's that whole thing like, you know what? I don't have to get up and do that, but yes, I do. And once I'm moving, I'm good, but I still haven't entirely adjusted. It'll probably take another, a couple of weeks, maybe. We also had, time change in there and all that kind of stuff too. So your body's still adjusting to that on top of that.
6 a.m. Ugh, gross.
The bad part is when 6 a.m. is happening on Saturday and Sunday and you wake up.
Oh, no. Eventually, Rob, it'll just get normal. No. Nope. Your boy gets up on the weekend at about 6:30, 6:45 because that's when the dog needs to go out. But the dog's like me. Once the dog's gotten up and gone to the bathroom, the dog wants to go back to sleep. Same.
Not me. Once I'm up, I'm up.
Oh, no. The joke around our house is we have the wake up for the dog, then we go back to sleep. Then it's get up, do all the morning stuff. Around 11:30 noon, it's time for the midday nap, the siesta, of which I am a big fan. Then it's work for a handful of hours. Then around 4:30, grab another siesta to recharge for the nighttime. It's unhealthy as hell, but I love sleeping with the new time schedule. All right. Let's see. Trey popped in, said, if South Carolina wins 10 games with Rattler, does he become a Heisman candidate finalist? Well, I'm going to start by saying, at the risk of bringing the chagrin of some Gamecocks fans, it ain't happening, dude. And I don't say that as a slight. But you're not beating Georgia. You're not beating A&M. You're not beating Clemson. The absolute most optimistic, sprinkled with a cherry on top, potential result for the Gamecocks. The best you can do is 9-3.
Let me be that guy. The years that South Carolina beat Georgia and beat Clemson, it was said, you're not beating Georgia. You're not beating Clemson. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying it's not out of the realm of possibility. We don't know what we have with this team until we see, 4 or 5 games under the belt.
So, I'm going to say this. If South Carolina wins one of those games, Lonzo, one of them, I will do an entire show in full garnet and black. Full show.
I was
I'll
going
rock
to say,
South Carolina style.
I can provide you with that unless you want the alternative, which will all be, female versions of that stuff, and you probably don't want to go with that.
Oh, no. I will buy it.
Okay.
My punishment, if South Carolina beats Clemson, A&M, or Georgia, one of the three, you win one of those three games
Just
this year.
one of the three. Mark it.
Mark it down. Write it down. If South Carolina beats Clemson, Georgia, or Texas A&M, one of those three this year, I will purchase and wear for an entire show. I'll even let you guys pick what shirt it is. You guys can tell me what shirt collectively you want me to wear. I will buy any South Carolina shirt you want and wear it. Don't care, because it's not happening, and it's not a slight. But
Georgia's week 3, so there's a possibility of you having to do it that early. Probably not, but it could happen.
Oh no, it's not happening. It's not. And here's why I'm doing this. Here's what I'm doing this. What I'm doing here is I don't want to repeat for South Carolina fans of what happened at the end of last year. Lady friend and I went to the Clemson, South Carolina game in Columbia. It was great. Had a good time. Tailgate was absolutely awesome. People were incredibly nice. The boat talking between Clemson and South Carolina fans was God tier. It was fantastic. But as I'm walking in, it's me, the lady friend, and a handful of her friends and friends of friends. And one of them says, Rob, we can beat them, can't we? And I said, no. Nope. Much to the chagrin of the lady friend and her friends. He said, Rob, we can beat them, right? And I said, no. You're not there. You're not there. You're good, but you're not there. And the reason that I do that is because what I don't want to happen to you is what I watched happen in Tallahassee after Jimbo Fisher took off when I was broadcasting in the Florida Panhandle. Willie Taggart shows up on campus, has a good recruiting class, builds a culture around that campus, and Florida State fans show up week 1 against Miami and go, we're back, baby. We're back. We're ready. We're awesome again. We got swag. We're ready to roll. And then you know what happened? Miami on opening night on Labor Day that year beat the hell out of Florida State. And then what happened? FSU fans stopped showing up. They stopped showing up. They stopped going to games. I'd go over there to cover a game for the radio station because we were an affiliate of FSU. We would carry their games. I went over there, and there'd be 25,000, 20,000 in the seats for ACC games because FSU fans had it in their mind that we're back, we're a powerhouse, we're ready to roll, and they were not. And what happens is when you set the expectations, when you set your standard, when you set your belief of, oh, we're a 10-win team, right? We can beat Clemson, and you can't, then you get disappointed when you don't. And when you get disappointed that you don't, you stop showing up and showing out. Because people are going, oh, no, we should be this, and we're not, so I'm not supporting that. No, that's when it needs to happen the most, kids. It's when it needs to happen the most. What I don't want to happen is for Gamecocks fans to start thinking, we're ready. We're there. Time to go win the East. No, you're not. You're not there. You're not ready. You're on the way.
I was going to say, but so when is it okay to think that? When is it okay to believe that? I think it's okay to believe that now. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but, from belief, things can happen. If you go in thinking, yeah, we're just not quite there yet, then you don't play like you need to play. You go in believing you can win every single game.
I mean, again, yeah, I show up to the stadium on a Saturday for the game of XYZU, and I go, rah, rah, shishamoomba, we're going to win today. But if you're looking at it on paper, South Carolina is not in the league with Georgia, A&M, or Clemson yet. Now,
But you're telling the fans, hey, don't have those expectations. So show up in the stands and kind of cheer because you know you're not supposed to win. No, you show up and you cheer like you believe they can win. That's what you do. And you never know, that little bit of extra cheering might be the catalyst to win a game that maybe you wouldn't have won before. That's what home field advantage is about.
I mean, again, I get it. I get it. I understand. You're a good fan.
Rob, your reality is annoying me today. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, maybe deep down inside you know you can't win, but there's a little bit of you that thinks, what if? And that's the part that you let show when you're in the stands.
I did that last night, right? Like I did that last night. Walked into that telling a friend of mine, look, if we're within a goal, I'll be thrilled, right? Like we are outclassed by this team. But where was I last night, Lonzo?
See, that's a perfect example. So,
I know.
So if that crowd had showed up going, yeah, we're not going to win, so yeah, yay. No, they came in and they're cheering.
You're taking it the wrong way.
Am I?
It the wrong way. Yes, you are. You're thinking I'm sitting here telling Carolina fans, don't show up, show out. I'm doing the opposite. However, I cool. If you want to go into the season believing, oh, we're 12-0 and winning the East, like cool. You're not, and that's okay. Still, turn up, turn out, because this is the part that you're marching towards growth, right? You're marching towards growth. You made a bowl game last year. You won the bowl game against a pretty good North Carolina team. You beat the hell out of a pretty good North Carolina team in the bowl game. You're marching towards progress. You should be aiming for 7 or 8 wins this year. March towards progress. If your football team keeps progressing and you are still bringing in $77,000 a game, the next year's worth of recruits are going to see that. They're going to go, okay, they're getting better. And that stadium sold the boat out. I'm in. Let's go. Of course. Show up, show out, get loud. I got blisters on my fingers from beating the hell out of a drum for 150 minutes last night. But what I don't want is expectations are 10 wins, 11 wins. You don't meet them, and then people start to bail out. All right. Preferred Home Services text line 71307. Texture says, sorry, Rob, but Clemson ain't what Clemson was. They are beatable this season by this team. I mean, Lonzo, if South Carolina beats Clemson, you got to wear a Clemson jersey on the air. You taking that bet?
If South Carolina wins South Carolina beats Clemson, I have to wear. Why would I have to wear a Clemson jersey if my team wins?
Something on the line for me to prove that you know Clemson's still better than South Carolina right now.
Well, I agree with the texter that Clemson is not what they were.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that the results are going to be different at the end of the season, but Clemson lost the heart of their defense when they lost their defensive coach. And we don't know how that defense is going to respond. Are the players still there? Yeah. But they don't have that guy that has to be restrained on the sideline and the energy that he brings for every game. They've got other guys who may not be able to design a defense the way that he did. There are a lot of ifs on Clemson this year.
I agree.
And it's the last game of the season. And why in the world, that's me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for once it's me. Why in the world would I wear a Clemson? I've lost bets and had to do that before. I ain't doing that again.
Because if you put something on the line.
My kid wouldn't get in a car when I lost a bet and had Clemson magnets on my car. I'm not going through that humiliation
By the way,
again.
Bumper magnets is a great prank. Bumper magnets.
Oh, these were we had a deal with a magnet company. When I say all over the car, I mean covered.
Ugh.
Yes, it was. I hated stopping.
Not because it's Clemson.
I hated stopping at stop signs.
Just a rival.
And of course, every stop sign, every red light, the day that I had to do it, there were Gamecock fans all over the place, and I'm just like, I lost a bet, man.
Braden says, I think South Carolina beats Georgia this year. Listen, Georgia's not going to be as good as they were last year either, okay? A lot of turnover there. But Georgia at 80% of what they were last year beats South Carolina this year. And for the record, not just South Carolina, but like most teams in college football. Neither Clemson nor Georgia are what they were. Georgia last year, Clemson 3 or 4 years ago, 2 years ago. But progress, South Carolina, progress, step at a time. And the next step is not beat Georgia. The next step is take those 3 games I told you were toss-up games, right? Take the 3 games that were toss-up games, win those. You win those, then the next year, you start angling for the next tier of games. The Georgias, the A&Ms. That's when you start firing those bullets. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Wrap up hour number 2. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Speaking of the great one, 11:23-ish. Fight Club with Lonzo, your home for all things combat sports in the upstate. UFC's got a lot of news going on right now. A little bit of boxing as Dylan White and Tyson Fury finally stood face to face. Went about as well as you'd expect it to. And a ton of professional wrestling coming down the pipe. That's 11:23. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Trey says you guys should stream the activities tomorrow. Then you can go to the bosses and provide examples of how you can stream the show from the Jericho cruise. It's worth a shot. Don't hate it.
I haven't been on a boat of that size. I'm not sure I can handle it.
I love cruises. When you go inside the boat, you forget you're on a boat.
I'm not scared of the water. I'm more concerned with me having trouble in the mountains. If it's an ear problem, then being on the ocean may do the same thing.
I got caught on a cruise in a massive storm one day, and it was scary.
Which member of ZZ Top died? I know one died.
Wasn't it Frank Beard?
Check out their collection today at smithandjames.com. Stop by their stores in downtown Greer and on Verde Boulevard in Greenville. Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Andrew, we are sponsored this time around by
ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get help managing your money for the
Related update, CBS Sports Radio update from Mike McCann.
We'll look at what you've saved, what you'll need, and build a straightforward plan to generate income, even when you're not working. A plan that gives you the chance to grow your savings and create cash flow that lasts. Plus, you can start, stop, or adjust your plan at any time without the unnecessary fees. Talk to us today so we can help you go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services, number NYSE SIPC.
If you're looking for real news, News Nation doesn't take sides or lean into political agendas. At News Nation, you get all sides. News Nation, news for all America. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us to find your television provider.
What do you mean you're on?
On the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio, wrapping up our numero dos. 844-326-3663, 844-FAN, phone, F-O-N-E. Preferred Home Services text line 71307. Start your text with FAN and tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on word, at The Fan Upstate. So it was announced earlier this week that the National Football League is investigating the Cleveland Browns for what you asked. Glad you did. There are now allegations that the NFL, by the way, is taking seriously enough to start an investigation that the Browns tanked, intentionally lost games in the 2016-2017 seasons.
Who was the quarterback then?
Who knows?
Exactly.
They've had 39 of them.
So they had to put effort into losing. I'm just not buying it.
In February, Hugh Jackson indicated in a series of posts on social media that the team paid him bonuses, incentivizing him to lose, and that he was set up to fail. Jackson would later soften those comments up just a little bit. The Browns, between 2016 and 2017, Lonzo, the Browns went 1-31, and yet still somehow had fans.
All right, here were the quarterbacks in 2016. I said quarterbacks.
Yep.
Cody Kessler, RG3,
yeah, Glass,
and Josh McCown. And Cody Kessler played 8 games, RG3 5, and Josh McCown 3.
Yeah, they weren't tanking. They were playing.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, you look at that quarterback group and go, wow, they should have won some games.
Cody Kessler wasn't the guy.
Yeah, I am not being convinced. You're not going to convince me looking at those quarterbacks. No way.
I had a buddy down in Destin when I was doing sports radio down there during those years. And up until Bake showed up, I had a buddy of mine who was a Cleveland guy. His name was Kellen. And at this point, I had a house with a garage on it. And he brought over one day a magnet that had the Cleveland logo. And then every time Cleveland changed quarterbacks, he would add another line of duct tape and start crossing out the old quarterback's name and writing the new one, crossing out. Lonzo, from like 2006 till I left, it pretty much spanned the entire height of my refrigerator of Cleveland Browns QBs. I don't think they were tanking, NFL. I just think they were Cleveland. Spokesman Brian McCarthy confirmed the league exchanged former SEC chair, that would be Securities and Exchange Commission, not Southeastern Conference, Mary Jo White, to look into Vince's allegations. McCarthy said in an email to the AP, the review is ongoing and is expected to conclude soon, end quote. The team released a statement earlier this week saying, quote, even though Hugh recanted his allegations a short time after they were made, it was important to us and the integrity of the game to have an independent review of the allegations. We welcomed an investigation, and we are confident the results will show, as we've previously stated, that these allegations are categorically false, end quote. Look, Hugh said it. Hugh realized he stepped in it. Hugh was trying to attach his name to something bigger, and I get it. But he walked him back. Not all the way. Not all the way, because somebody basically said, they paid you to tank. Cool. Can you show us the receipts? And he was like, no, not really. I mean, maybe they didn't pay me, you know. Maybe. They weren't tanking. They were just really bad. Imagine being a fan of an NFL team that is so bad. The NFL's like, are you guys this bad on purpose? Like, are you trying to be this bad? Way to go, Browns. Let's take a break. Hour number 3, going to be locked and loaded up next on The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
CBS Sports Radio. This is Matt Crowder live at the gas station on 41st Street, reporting on those skyrocketing gas prices. Excuse me, miss, are you buying less gas now because of the high prices?
Oh, I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute, are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash
The great thing about Icelandic jazz is that when there are vocals in Icelandic jazz, every song's a scat song.
Yes, it is.
Every song's a scat song when it's Icelandic jazz. I'm sure it was a beautifully written song I just learned, but it was and I'm like, cool. That sounded great.
Scat is a universal language. When you're scatting, I mean, you could do it in Chinese. You could do it in Spanish.
Are you supposed to pop blisters or leave them? You're supposed to leave them, right? Because it's annoying.
Popped a blister one time that turned into a cyst, so you don't want to do that. See the scar right there? Do you see it?
Yeah.
Had to have surgery.
Oh, I will leave it.
Yeah, I was just saying. It got so bad, I kept putting bandages on it. I would move my hands, and it would fly off, and blood would go everywhere. It was nasty. Unlike some of my stories that you may doubt, I have scar tissue to prove it.
I don't doubt your stories.
This show?
This show.
This show right here. You ever bought sweatpants and you didn't know afterwards if they were actually pajamas or not?
Say that again.
If you ever bought sweatpants and you wear them and they feel like pajamas and then you're not quite sure if you actually bought sweatpants or pajamas and that you might be at work in pajamas, which really wouldn't matter if I were at work in pajamas,
I have joined.
which I might be right now.
I've joined Team Joggers because joggers have become acceptable regular pants.
These could be lounge pants, which are just fancy pajamas. I don't know. Or they could be sweat. They were hanging with the sweatpants. They feel like lounge pants. I don't know.
The industry's fastest refrigerator ice maker and bottle fill technology for hands-free, customizable water options, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Save on Bosch refrigeration.
QC Kinetics in the first break.
QC Kinetics in the first break.
For those of you who didn't believe you could nod sarcastically, there it is.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions.
The best part about it is I got to see it twice because I just happened to glance at the screen and watch you do it again.
The third, the final, the best of the money hour of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. What up, America? How y'all doing, world? Great to be with you. I'm Rob. He is the great one, Lonzo. Fight Club in the next segment. Make sure you stick around for that if you're a combat sports fan. UFC, boxing, MMA, professional wrestling. We got all the angles covered. That's coming up. So, Dick Vitale Met Dick Vitale in Tallahassee a number of years ago. Phenomenal dude. Lonzo and I have been in this business a while. And we both got stories about meeting people who seem like crazy pleasant people on TV and they turn out to just be class A butt wipes in real life. Dick Vitale is not one of those guys. Dickie V is a dude, man. Met him. He did a book signing in Tallahassee a number of years ago. He was there to call a Florida State Duke game that I went to go watch. And Dickie V, baby, showed up to the SU Student Center. It was just great. I heard on at least one occasion a kid tell Dick Vitale that he was glad to meet him, but just couldn't afford a book at the moment. And Dick was like, hold on, I got you. And just bought his own book to give to the kid and signed it for him. It was awesome. Love Dick Vitale. I say that as Lonzo has the Dickie V bobblehead in hand.
The batteries ran down. It actually talks.
Incredible, baby.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff it says.
Nothing but net. The diaper dandy. Okay, I'm done. I can't. My voice is wrecked.
Although this is number 921 of 1,000.
How about that?
I don't know if that makes it valuable or not. It's in the studio. How much could it really be worth?
Right. Dick Vitale says that the NCAA transfer portal is, quote, pathetic, end quote. 2 days ago, the basketball legend sent out a series of tweets. And Dickie V, by the way, you can't help but read his tweets in Dick Vitale's voice in your head, right? It's like him, Morgan Freeman, how am I forgetting his name? Morgan Freeman.
So you said Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, and then I blanked on after, whatever. Him, Morgan Freeman, is like those dudes that, David Attenborough.
Christopher Walken. There's a few who just,
Walken.
yeah.
You read their
William
stuff.
Shatner.
There's the regular comma, the Oxford comma, and the Shatner comma, which just goes after every few words. Anyway, Dickie V sent out a tweet that said, and I quote, pathetic! That's all caps. Pathetic! What the transfer portal is doing to college sports. How is this chaos and cheating going on? Great lessons for young people to develop values needed for the game of life. Quitting / lack of loyalty is what's happening, is what is happening. Traits that destroy people as they face the real world. He went on to say, please don't sicken me with a wacky argument that over 1,400 players transferring equates to about 50 coaches leaving. Whining that coaches don't sit versus players is solved easily by the VBDI rule. Coach leaves, players should be allowed to leave without sitting. End of story. The last two sentences, all in caps. Vitale would say in one more tweet, I'm getting some of the most insane replies defending the transfer portal. Nobody, the portal is saying players will be forced to stay and not leave. That is absurd. Players can transfer and work out, study for 1 year, ask many coaches. It helps their future. So, I preface that I love Dick Vitale because I am going to disagree with him here. And I don't want it to be said it's because I don't like Dickie V. Big fan of Dick Vitale. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, I met Dickie V in Tallahassee as well. Phenomenal guy. Yeah, great dude. But he's wrong here. In my opinion, he's wrong here. You will notice that with some exceptions amongst the average Joe-verse, you will notice that the only people who cry about the transfer portal are people who have a financially invested interest in college basketball, right? The only people saying the transfer portal is a bad thing are people who make their money on college basketball, like Dick Vitale. And this is true of college football, too. It's Kirk Herbstreit who makes a lot of money on college football. Desmond Howard, who makes a lot of money on college football. It's only the guys who get their paycheck signed by college football, with a few exceptions to that rule.
See, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, these are guys whose voices will be heard. There are other voices out there saying it, but they're not as famous as these guys.
Right. Because they don't have a power stance in college football, right? Like even I talked to a guy I guess about a year ago. Had a Twitter conversation with a dude who does play-by-play for ESPN Plus. He does like junior college games that went on ESPN Plus. And we got into a conversation about it, and he's like, I got no issue with it. It helps kids from schools at our level that show up, show out, and move to a higher level. I understand what Dick is saying here. Oh, we're teaching them quitting and lack of loyalty. No, you're not. You're teaching them that when you go out there and you bust hump and you succeed, you can move ahead in the world. Isn't that what we teach our kids? Work hard, find success, make yourself better off. But for whatever reason, doing that in college sports, it's like, except here, buddy. Like I know we told you in school that if you work really hard and study a bunch and make good marks in school, that you can get a scholarship as a reward. Then you go to college and you work hard and you study hard and you make good marks and then you get a good job. And then you kick butt in that job and you do that and then you get a better job and you just keep moving up and doing better for yourself. And a basketball player goes, okay, I've done that. I've worked really hard. I have crafted my game. My game is now bigger than the school that I signed on with. I would like to go somewhere that I am going to get noticed more. And we go, yeah, no, not that way though. Like all those lessons we told you about working hard and finding success and then moving up in the world, we meant those except this time because now you're taking away from my entertainment. Now, I will tell Dick Vitale what the best argument you have is against the transfer portal. The best argument that you have is it shifts the balance of power in competitive sports further towards the big dogs, right? It shifts it further towards the big dogs. If you go to, I don't know, the University of Texas, El Paso, and you're a really good basketball player or football player, and you show up and you show out, and you put your name in the papers, and you become their marquee player, then the University of Texas comes calling. A school that historically in the state of Texas gets the recruits they want. So now on top of getting the recruits they want, they also can pretty much pick and choose from other schools, from kids that go in the portal. But here's the thing. There's a balance to that. The portal is where kids can be talked to. It's not like they can go recruit the smaller schools, right? If there's a kid at the University of Texas, El Paso, who becomes a really good basketball player and becomes their marquee guy, he can decide I want bigger and better, but Texas can't approach him until he does it, until he gets into the portal, right? And the risk there is you go into the portal for whatever reason. You found success, you've grown, the new coaching staff doesn't like you, you've only got 1 year of eligibility left, and you're not going to get any PT because they just brought in another recruit who plays the same position better than you. Whatever your reasoning might be, you go in the portal, and you run the risk that there's not a spot for you. Right? I have said on the show many times, if we are going to create a system that gives the power to players to help craft and create their own future, and we trust them with the responsibility to make that decision because they're old enough and mature enough to do it, they are also old enough and mature enough to recognize that there are consequences to every decision that you make. And if you make the decision to hit the portal, the consequence could be you find a really good landing spot. The other consequence could be that you go into the portal and there isn't a spot for you. And now you're screwed because your old team doesn't want you back and there's no new team for you. That's part of it, right?
Unless you are assured that you'll be getting a better NIL deal if you go into the portal and come over here, which of course they're not supposed to do, but is more than likely happening.
And again, if somebody can come to the table and go, hey, this kid that just left the University of Texas, El Paso, and got picked up by Texas out of the portal, if somebody brings receipts to the table that shows that Texas or somebody there had an NIL conversation with a player, bring down the hammer. Right? I'm for it.
Won't happen. Too much money involved now. There's no going back with this.
No, I think you are running to the conclusion of there's this one bad potential. So obviously the only option is the worst case scenario, which is the NCAA, I get the impression the NCAA are not super big fans of this.
They've lost complete control. They have no control over this. So it can, and you talk about going to worst case scenario. Yeah, you should always look at worst case scenario and then work your way back.
Correct. But you should not treat it as if worst case scenario is definitely what is happening.
I'm not saying it's the norm, but I'm not going to pretend like it's not happening and won't happen in the future and could get out of hand to the point where it becomes the norm.
So I agree with you. You're right. But the premise to me here becomes, I am not going to take away these kids' ability to bank themselves because a handful of people are breaking the rules and the NCAA is not in control, right? Hey, sorry, kids, but the NCAA's irresponsibility over the years, we have to kid glove them, which means you can't make any money anymore. I saw a story yesterday. 3 Tennessee baseball players, baseball, did a photo op / book signing or autograph signing at a bookstore near the campus in Knoxville, Tennessee. And there was money charged to show up and get pictures and autographs. The line for 3 baseball players came out of the store and wrapped around it. I am not going to tell those 3 baseball players, you can't make these few $100 here because Mark Emmert let this organization spin out of control. And the consequences are on you, not them. Can't do it. I agree. You should always evaluate the worst case or the worst case possibility and do what you can to minimize that. What you should not do is act as if the worst case scenario is definitely the reality of the situation and start scrubbing the whole thing. Anyway, Dickie V, you are teaching these kids life lessons with the transfer portal in place, right? Oh, it's all about loyalty and it's all about not quitting. They're not quitting, dude. They're not quitting. They are trying to keep playing. That's the point. And no, I mean, listen, there is absolutely a life lesson to tell people. There is going to come a time in your life when somebody is going to be better at doing something than you are. And sometimes you got to sit back and let them do their work for the benefit of the team. However, we have to balance that with the real life lesson of you've only got X amount of years to do a thing. So go chase paper while you can. And if you're good at something, don't do it for free. We are teaching these kids that bettering yourself is okay. If you show up on a campus, and you're not getting PT, and they're bringing in recruits that are beating you out for your job, but you've got a chance to play somewhere, go play. Go play. I am loyal as hell to this station, right? I love this place. The Fan Upstate gave me my second chance. I like my fourth chance. They took a chance on me. Brought me up here from Florida to do this show. I am loyal as hell. Lonzo, if tomorrow I got an offer to go work for CBS Sports Radio at 6 figures a year, and I took that offer, would you be mad at me for it?
No.
No, of course not. Told the boss when I took the job. He said,
All right, I changed my mind. It depends on who the next guy in
fair enough.
is. Yes.
Fair enough. Here's behind the curtain. When I got the job and the boss was talking to me, he goes, look, we want somebody here long term, right? We want somebody here long term. We want somebody that wants to be here for a long time. Are you here for a time? And I said, dude, yeah. The only way I'm leaving is if I ever get an offer that when I show it to you on paper, you go, congratulations, right? We all work to better ourselves and our situation. It's just that for some reason, this one time is the one time that you guys don't want other people to be able to do that. And you dress it up with, oh, it's life lessons. Oh, it's all about not quitting and loyalty.
So you're implying that there are no lessons about, not quitting and loyalty, which there's something to be said for loyalty. There's something to be said for stick-to-itiveness when you get passed over for a job many times and then you're given the chance and shown the powers that be that you could excel, will excel, and could have done it all along.
I'm literally doing that right now.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
So, I mean...
I'm not saying there aren't lessons. I'm saying there's lessons in everything. Yeah, I got lessons about loyalty. I was loyal to my last station down in Florida. For years, I was loyal to them. Passed up on good opportunities to be loyal to them. You know what happened to me for my loyalty after a while? They fired me so that they could bring back a 2-time convicted felon to take the job that I kept afloat when he went to jail. That was my lesson in loyalty. Loyalty's a two-way street, right? Loyalty's a two-way street. If I go to a school and they go, you're going to be this, and then I show up and I'm not that, you're not being loyal to me either. Just because you have this idealized version of what lessons these kids are supposed to be learning does not mean that it's A, accurate, or B, matters to them at all. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Time for Fight Club with Lonzo, your home for all things combat sports in the Upstate. It starts next on The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
QC.
Tell you about my friends at QC Kinetics, ladies and gentlemen. QC Kinetics offers non-surgical regenerative therapy. What do you mean, Rob? Well, I'll tell you. What I mean is you deal with joint pain. You do? Well, then I'm talking to you. You deal with joint pain because inside of all of your joints, that's everywhere you bend and move and twist, there is connective tissue. And that connective tissue, as you age, begins to wear down, begins to break down. And when it does, parts that ain't supposed to rub against each other do that. It creates inflammation, creates soreness, creates stiffness, creates pain. You're going to get told at some point, well, if you want to correct that, you got to get slice and dice. You got to get surgery. Well, I'm here to tell you, before you get surgery, I want you to call my friends at QC Kinetics, QCKINETIX.com, QC Kinetics. They're going to walk you through their non-surgical regenerative therapy. They have the ability, using natural biologics, to go in to
Trying to see if I can match my bicep flexes on the delay.
Hey guys. Okay, so this is called a Bell Breakfast Box from Taco Bell. Oh, thanks. I can read.
And that's a coffee. Helps you open your eyes.
And that's a breakfast burrito. You can start from either end. You guys always this condescending in the morning? Pretty much.
Wake up with the new $5 Bell Breakfast Box, filled with a grande toasted breakfast burrito, hash brown, 2 Cinnabon delights, and a coffee. At limited participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax, tax, treats, excludes freezes.
At Ingalls, we know your closest companions are the ones who are always there for you. The ones you trust to have you back, no matter what. Who make the hard times a little softer, and the good ones, somehow, a little better.
Oh, that delay is a good, I don't know, 20 seconds? Buy one, get one free. There you go. You know, that intro is just so good because it starts out with Mike Tyson talking about wanting to eat someone's children. So there's a lesson to be learned there that a
Don't
airline
bring your kids around Mike Tyson.
well, no, that an airline passenger didn't learn. If a man will threaten to eat your children, he's probably going to beat your face in if you annoy him on an airplane. Talked about this earlier, but it's all over the internet. It's trending right now. Apparently, Mike Tyson sits down. He takes a selfie with the guy behind him, but the guy's buddy just won't. You ever had that person that keeps asking you questions? In our office, that's me. That just keeps asking questions. At some point, you just want it to stop, but you know it's not gonna, and you're gonna have to deal with it for the entire plane flight. And how long does a flight from California to Florida last?
It's got to be 6 hours, right? 5 hours.
Would it
6
take
hours?
that long? I don't know. Well, anything over 2 hours, just think about it. Incessant questions coming from someone behind you, you're going to get pretty annoyed. You don't want to annoy Mike Tyson. So what Mike Tyson did is he just decided to beat the guy's face in.
I mean, it's a real good way to get him to stop talking. You swell his jaw shut. It's going to be hard for him to ask you, hey, remember when you bit off Evander's ear? That was awesome.
And the other thing is, even though Tyson has tried to, fix his image, he's still Mike Tyson. His image is he'll beat your face in if you annoy him. And now he's proven that.
It's not his image. That's his reality.
Well, it's that guy's reality now. The question is, when this guy finally recovers from the beating that he took, and after he makes whatever money he makes from suing Mike Tyson from the assault, which he'll make some money, although Mike flying in what appears to be coach means he probably doesn't have a whole lot of money left.
I was going to say, Mike said a couple of times he's out of money.
Yeah, but he just made some money doing that exhibition, didn't he?
I mean, he's got all them birds to feed, bro.
Okay, I was going to say, pay off debt? What did he do? I don't know.
He's got all them pigeons to feed.
But you know what this means? Tyson will probably avoid jail time, but when he's done, he's going to need money. You know what this means, Rob? You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it.
Paul v. Mike Tyson.
It's going to happen because now Tyson's going to be like, okay, I got to get out of this hole. What would make people more happy than anything and forget about the airplane incident is if I beat Logan Paul's face in.
That's actually correct. It's actually correct. You know what? Sorry, random victim on the airline, but it resulted in Logan Paul getting his face punched in, so it's a net win for us.
It would be, yes. And not all that's joking. All of that possibly could happen because the challenge.
It's not a joke for me. I'm in.
Yeah, the challenge is out there. Tyson hasn't accepted it, but now he's probably going to need money to cover court costs.
What did he say? He said, I'm out of money. I'm going to need y'all to pay me like $100 million to do that. No, he said $1 billion. He said, I'm going to need y'all to pay me $1 billion to fight that kid.
Well, now he might
Somebody start the GoFundMe.
He may not be wanting to go back in the slammer, so he may be willing to take that fight now. Speaking of fights, this Saturday, we have a heavyweight boxing match.
Yes, we do.
Between Tyson Fury and Dylan White. And it's on, I forget what it's, I want to say BCS time. That's not right. It's like BSA time. Anyway, it's Britain Standard Time. I think it's BST time, which equates to the boxing, the undercard starting at 2 p.m. So Eastern Standard Time. So the speculation is that the main card will start somewhere around 5 o'clock. Rob will just have completed his nationally syndicated radio show.
Correct.
The only one, in this building who has one of those.
Bet the Cycle with Rob Brown and Cody Decker live on the BetQL network.
Awesome show. Make sure you tune in. He will just have completed that show, have time for some snacks and things like that. And with his huge radio salary, are you willing to pay for this fight?
Yeah, I'll watch this fight. I'll buy this fight. I think Tyson Fury wins this fight. The problem with that Tyson's going to have is that Dylan White is a old school heavyweight boxer. And at the end of the day, any heavyweight boxer that is in contention for belts has knockout power, right? You don't make it this far as heavyweight if you can't put dudes to sleep. One shot, right? And don't tell me it can't happen. Deontay Wilder sat Tyson Fury down, 3 times in their last fight? Fury won the fight by TKOing Deontay, but Deontay sat Tyson down 3 times in that fight.
Yeah,
it can be done, and Dylan White might have more stopping power. Deontay's a monster. Dylan White might have a little bit more power on that, right? All it takes is one punch to connect, and the Fury and the Gypsy King goes down. I'm not saying it will. I'm betting on Tyson Fury to win this fight, but I don't do a lot of heavyweight betting.
Literally or figuratively?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of heavyweight betting because guys in this realm of the heavyweight game have one punch knockout power, and that's all it's going to take.
So that's the thing. If you're going to knock him down, you hit him as hard as you can and make sure he doesn't get back up, because Tyson Fury seems to get knocked down a lot.
But he gets up again. You're never going to keep him down.
Absolutely.
He gets knocked down, but he gets up again. You're never going to keep him down.
I've asked you this question off the air, I'll ask it now, even though it doesn't fit in Fight Club. Would you rather have a one-hit wonder or no hit at all?
One-hit wonder. There are bands that tour for years based on a song.
Dexy's Midnight Runner.
Yeah.
There's a few out there. All right, so I can't buy the fight.
Why?
Because of when it's on. I will be in transit to come here to do a show, so I can't do it. If it was guaranteed that the fight would be on at 2 o'clock, I could do it, but I can't. So doesn't mean I won't watch it. Doesn't mean I won't watch it, but obligations. All right, ton of things as far as wrestling goes. First of all, there's a rumor out there, FTR, Rob's favorite. I could just walk out of the room, but I just decided to talk about it anyway because I love this topic. FTR is rumored they're on like a 1-year contract. It's one of those, when an NFL player or NBA player just signs a quick contract. The rumor is they're going back to WWE. Are you okay with that?
No. Why would I be? I got a dollar says somewhere Vince McMahon was watching AEW and who's like, you know what? I bet those guys would be a good replacement for the Revival. Right? Like, you already had them. You did nothing with them. You let them have their gimmick of...
You don't think they come back in like Cody?
No.
I mean, we haven't seen the end of Cody's run. He just started, so we don't...
Cody got the return pop that Cody got because he's Dusty's boy, right? He's Dusty's boy, and he was an AWOG. Like, he was the original, so that was a big coup for Vince. And if you are a WWE fan who is not an AEW fan, that was a win for you, and you celebrated that win with that pop. FTR, who, yes, I love them because they are an old school tag team that tag team wrestles classically, and I absolutely adore it, was already there. They were run through a bunch of pointless feuds, had no character direction at all. Now, if Vince is going to give them paper, if Vince is going to give them money, and that is a good career move for them, then cool. Support them just like kids in the portal when I go, not a great move, but have at. But if you are in it because you love the game and you want to continue to push tag team wrestling, you literally have proof that AEW is better at that than WWE for you because you've already done both. No, I don't like it.
Yeah, I want them to go back just because of the bug Rob, and I'm willing to wait a year for that because, Colonel Grudge. I can wait. I'll wait a lifetime just for that punchline.
I respect that.
That's just me. All right. Speaking of Cody on Monday Night Raw takes on Kevin Owens. And it was a really good match. It ended in count out, which a lot of people were upset about, but it started a feud between KO and Seth Rollins, which of course is probably going to be the next thing after Cody and Seth are done. I like it. You got to put him in matches that are decent. I've heard complaints about he's going up against KO, who's not a real good heel, and it hurts him as far as his face status. You put anybody in the ring against Kevin Owens, it makes you look better. It just absolutely does. He's that guy. He's like one of the top guys as far as making other people look better, and he's over with the crowd. And there was a time when I couldn't stand Kevin Owens because they wouldn't let him win. It had nothing to do with his promos, had nothing to do with anything. It just seemed like every feud when he first started in the WWE, he never won. But now he's won championships and things like that. So now I'm good with it.
KO's a wizard, and
he does things and looks like he's scared to death to do them that he shouldn't do, like what he did at the well when he jumped off the stairwell. And you're just like, okay, don't do that. He just did that.
There is no wrestling dude better than house show Kevin Owens.
Oh, yes. It's amazing.
House show Kevin Owens is hilarious. Dude is genuinely funny. I love KO. He got on the mic multiple times leading up to his WrestleMania showdown with Steve Austin. And it went from, I don't need to see this. I don't need to watch Steve hobble out to the ring. And did you see him trying to run after he stunned Vince, running circles around the ring on the broken legs?
There was some difficulty there for sure.
Yeah. KO sold that feud, right? Like he and Stone Cold sold that feud. Dude is really, really good. And I get it because you're not going to find many people that can get on a mic and dress down a dude that you are trying to put over like Cody Rhodes right now as your trophy, as your crown and the jewel over AEW, or your jewel in the crown over AEW. KO's a right guy for that spot. He is. Love Kevin Owens.
All right. So also, I want to start doing a thing where I give you my top 3 matches of the week for all of wrestling.
I'm in.
And that was one of them. Another was Carmelo versus Santos. And that was a great match on NXT. I know you haven't been watching NXT, but there's still some really good matches there. And there's...
Did you say Carmella versus Santos?
Carmelo. Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, okay. I know who it is. I don't know why I heard Carmella versus. I was like,
when he
what
shoots,
did Corey do to her?
Oh yeah, when he shoots, he doesn't miss. So Carmelos versus Santos Escobar, and there's a feud that we talked about a little bit last week between him and Tony D'Angelo after the match, which was a great match, which Santos ended up winning. What happened was during the match, at the end of it, guys dressed in suits showed up and attacked Santos, and the announce crew had no idea who they were, and so we're starting a mob feud, and I love it. I mean, as far as storylines goes, so at the end of NXT 2.0, as Santos and his guys are walking out to the car, there's a dead fish on top of the car. I mean, if you're a Godfather fan, if you're a fan of all the old-time mobster movies, this is great.
Yeah.
It really is. And you're bringing it to a new audience, a new younger audience that may go, what is this? And kind of explore this type of thing and find some really good movies. But I like the angle because I don't recall this angle ever being done in wrestling. And I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. But can you think of one with a straight-up mobster?
No.
Who now calls himself the Don of NXT? And Tony D'Angelo, the accent is perfect. Everything. Who knows? He might really talk like that. I don't know. But him bringing in a couple Goombas, as he said, and he has no idea who they are. I think if they build his stable good, this could be a wonderful feud that will happen for a while. So that's my number 2. My number 3 is Jungle Boy versus Kyle O'Reilly. Whether you like Kyle O'Reilly or not, Kyle O'Reilly can wrestle. He can. If you put him in there with the right partner, it is magic, and he and Jungle Boy put on a heck of a match last night in AEW, and it was pretty good. Jungle Boy lost, and Kyle O'Reilly won, obviously, if Jungle Boy lost, but it was a good match. Whatever. All right. Also, WWE, I'm jumping around all over the place. Theory is now your new U.S. champ. And the sad thing is, what are they doing to Finn Balor?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Finn Balor. There was a few years ago when either Raw or SmackDown came to the well. I couldn't wait to get there because I wanted to do the arm race thing. And that's a phenomenon that you want to be a part of. It's not the wave. I don't know what you call it. It's kind of like the wave, but
Listen, wrestling is. We had Shivani on a couple of weeks ago, and he said, the crowd is trying to get itself over, right? Which makes sense. We're part of the show now. It used to be you were there to watch wrestling. Now it's there. You're there to be a part of it. The smartest guys in wrestling are the ones who figure out that if you give the crowd something they can do with you,
like Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him.
The yes chant. How about
which shows up in other stadiums everywhere, just like the Woo shows up on other sports.
DB, I was at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans when Bryan beat Triple H and then beat Orton and Batista for his championship run. Lonzo, there were 77,000 plus people in that building that night, and every one of them was doing the yes chant. It's just something to be a part of, and it was cool, man. Finn's thing when they crank the lights up and and the lights go up and everybody's got hands up is a super cool visual. Why are they wasting
I don't know.
Finn Balor? He had the single most unremarkable championship reign I can think of. Like, he was a transitional champion for no reason at all. None at all. I don't get why you keep that guy as effectively a placeholder and nothing else. I mean, I know we've talked about AEW's roster getting a bit bloated, but I'll take Finn Balor in a heartbeat, right? In a heartbeat, I take Finn Balor over there.
Trey brings up the full-blooded Italians. I forgot about that, but no, this is not. This is. I mean, they don't hold a candle to this. I don't know if Rob remembers the FBI, but it's not like, oh, this is so good. This really is good. This could help bring some viewers back to NXT. Only got time for two more things. AEW Forbidden Door. We saw this coming. This is going to be cool for wrestling fans that are wrestling fans of everything. I don't know that this is that big of a deal for American wrestling fans. The wrestling fan that may watch Raw and SmackDown, watch AEW every week, but they don't watch Impact and all this other stuff, so they don't know about New Japan. I'm kind of in that. I don't mind watching a wrestling match with someone I don't know, but if it's just going to be a pure matchup of us against them, I don't know that it goes that great as far as viewership goes.
I'm intrigued by it, and I think you know what it is. It's a spinoff episode, right? Like, I used to watch CSI Miami back in the day, right? I loved CSI Miami. I loved Horatio. I love CSI Miami, and every now and then, but I didn't watch any other CSIs. I didn't watch the OG. I didn't watch CSI LA or New York or whatever, wherever they were all the same show, just set in different cities and with a different color gradient shown on camera. Right? Everything in Miami's orange, according to that show. I'd watch the show. I enjoyed that show. Didn't watch any other CSIs, but when the New York crew showed up on CSI Miami, I'm like, oh, I got to watch that. I don't know anything about those guys or their characters, but I just need to see it. That's what this is. It's a one-shot spinoff to bring in some other characters that you've never seen before so that you don't have the same circles going on in AEW with the same characters talking to each other. And it's one show.
One last thing. Sting, stop. You're going to get hurt. You are going to get hurt. You're my favorite wrestler of all time. Trey mentioned the same thing. He jumped off stuff again last night. Stop it. You're too old.
Sting, stop. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. Rob Alonzo, the Rob Brown Show's on the Fan Upstate.
Let's get back to the NFL. Debo Samuel, maybe a...
We don't know yet, Steven. There's a possibility there will be a stream tomorrow. I have doubts. We're going to confer with engineering, which I have to do anyway because of Monday. So
Monday.
got a phone call from some guy from Dallas yesterday about Monday. Which I'm excited about, but not from a technical standpoint if it doesn't work. I wonder if Rob knows what I'm talking about.
No.
Got a phone call from a guy from Dallas about Monday. Guy from Dallas. Shorter guy. I don't know if you've met him before. I'm sure you have. You're taking his place on Fridays.
Cole. Is Cole in for Monday?
That's the plan.
Oh, literally have not been told that yet.
Yeah. Well, you probably just haven't talked to anybody, but he called me yesterday. I was like, what? He's like, did you read your email? No. I'm not at work. I don't read my email when I'm not at work.
Well, so I talked to Mark, and he said Cole
Dan.
Carter and Dan were both unavailable, and then he texted me. He's like, I don't know if C Money's going to be able to do it or not. And then that was the last I heard, so I just assumed I was working Monday.
Well, it appears that Cole is going to do it from Dallas if they wanted to use Real Feed, or I forget what it's called. It's something we use for Dana on WRD,
okay.
Which I don't understand why we're doing that when we can just use StreamYard and it's already set up for it. You don't have to use the video. You can just use the audio feed from StreamYard. And you don't have to set up anything new. It's already there. And the feed is it's clean feed. I don't know if clean feed is any better than StreamYard. Our main problem with StreamYard is volume level.
Yep.
Time for Twitter trending topics. The first thing trending is Vox Machina.
The legend of Vox Machina, which I believe is in production for season 2 after a really, really good reception of season 1 on, was it Prime Video, I think. Big fan. I thought the show was really well put together.
You'll like why it's trending. It's trending because people are being asked, which character are you? And because of that, it's trending.
Oh, I'm Scanlan, right? I'm Scanlan. I'm an entertainer that has no shortage of jokes that are inappropriate for the radio. I hype myself up by singing terrible songs to I'm Scanlan.
Yeah, we know who I am.
Percy.
Well, I would like to think that, but I don't know why I forget the big dude's name.
Grog.
Yeah, Grog. That's me.
Even if you're not a D&D guy, it's just a fun cartoon, man. And it's hilarious.
It is, absolutely. There are other things trending, but you know what should be trending? The fact that we're live tomorrow.
Live tomorrow on location at Hall of Fame Sports Bar and Grill, Wade Hampton Boulevard in the Ville. Come on by and see us. We will be on the air from 9 to noon. It usually doesn't open until 11, but they're opening the doors for us at 9, so you guys can come by as soon as we start the show live. We'll be 9 to noon just like normal. And then at noon, Lonzo, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be there as we make history. Lonzo warming up the old shoulder for his first ever game of Cornhole out in the parking lot. You are going to want to be there tomorrow. Again, we are live 9 to noon, and then Zoe and I will hang out for a while afterwards. Hope that you will join us. Again, that's Hall of Fame Sports Bar and Grill, Wade Hampton Boulevard.
I just want to say, not a radio bit. I really have never played Cornhole before, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully I don't, injure myself in some way.
Yeah.
Take a beanbag to the eye or something. I don't know.
Excited about it. So again, 9 to noon, Hall of Fame Sports Bar and Grill. That is going to be on Wade Hampton Boulevard in Greenville. Lonzo and I will both be there tomorrow. We're there from 9 to noon on the air and then hanging out for a while afterwards. So come by, come see us. We'd love to have you join us. Gonna be a good time. That's it for us. You have a great show or a great day. We had a great show. We'll see you tomorrow for another one live at Hall of Fame, Wade Hampton Boulevard. Hasta luego, y'all. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. All right, stream. Thank you, guys.